Hello, welcome out to Cult Classics vs. Comedians. My name is Jamie Maxfield, your host of this episode, and we're recording here at Quick Wits Theater down here in Midvale, Utah. And I'm joined by these three lovely comedians, Cody Eden.
Hello.
Jady Peeters.
Hi.
And Bob Bedore.
Howdy.
And today we're going to talk about a 1932 pre-code film called Freaks. This was done by Tom Bombadari, I can't remember his last name. And he directed Dracula.
Okay.
So
Yes.
he's got a lot of fame from directing Dracula. So this was his second film, and it pretty much killed his career. It killed his career after that. But what the film is, and a lot of people didn't know this, and just doing research on it before I watched the film, was that Tom actually he was in a carnival as a kid. And so he knew all these freak shows, and he had he was just drawn to them, and so he did a film about that. And so the film is basically, it's a story of a freak show in a carnival, and it follows a kind of a love triangle between Hans, who is a very small person, very cute and adorable. I mean, I was just completely drawn to his stage presence. Was amazing.
Dressed impeccably.
Yes, always to
dapper.
the tease.
Dapper.
And he's actually engaged with his fiancée Frida, who is another small person as well, and they would make an adorable couple. But he is falling in love with the trapeze artist Cleopatra, the most beautiful woman in the world. Yes, right. And she is playing into his affection toward her. And then they find out Cleopatra, who is a normal person, and Hercules, who's the strong man, who, by the way, doesn't look. Apparently, they had different standards for strength back then.
Yeah, I was thinking if this movie was made now, she would be Scarlett Johansson, and he'd be Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
Instead, they just look like two people you pull
He's just
out of
like,
a
this is
bar
a guy who
on the
works
corner.
at a gas station, and they put him in a Hercules outfit, and he's like, he's the strongest man in the world.
If I
They
did
really
push-ups
didn't do any
from-
strong things in the movie either.
No, he didn't do anything. So, but those two they're really the ones that have a relationship going, and they find out that Hans is actually the heir of a fortune, which I found interesting because they went straight to billions. He's worth which back then was like a whole, like a made up, it's like a made up number, like a floppo amount of money, right? Because that's so much back then.
Never mind, why would this guy who's worth billions be working in a freak show?
Yeah,
He's slumming.
He's
Well, he
in it
was
for the love
planning
of the
on
game.
leaving as soon as they got to some stop, but never made it.
He
Oops.
never makes it.
Ruined that.
So Cleopatra is going to marry Hans, and she marries him, and then they plot to poison him. Well, all the freaks in the freak show, which were actually real cast members from an actual freak show back in the 30s.
No CGI back then.
No. This is all, real people. They all find out about this murder plot, and they all love Hans, and so they turn the tables on Cleopatra and turn her into a freak. And at the end of the film, we see what they turn her into, some kind of like Howard the Duck, half Howard the Duck, weird compilation.
I'm gonna go with
piece.
sex chicken.
Yeah, it was pretty much It's a while.
I'm just gonna go with sex chicken.
Yeah. JD, what did you think about the film?
I was actually really happy with the film for the same reason why I know a lot of people were upset with it, is that it used real freaks. Now, I'm a diet freak, and I don't like it when people play freak face, where they just pretend to be freaks for the sake of the movie.
Freak
I like
face.
real people playing real quote-unquote freaks. It made me feel good about it, and there were some points where it was like, obviously they're not professional actors, but they were genuine.
Bob, how about you?
I found a lot of things interesting about this. First of all, the idea of Hans. I want you to watch this movie again and think about Hans as just being a mini Donald Trump. He looks exactly like Donald Trump. And he looks like and sounds like Donald Trump if he just ingested a bunch of helium.
What have you in your soda for head? Sweet paid
But there was some great little scenes, and it's really not necessarily a horror movie because it's not edge of your seat kind of horror until near that end when when Cleopatra's trailer turns over and the freaks come after her to get their revenge, and then it's kind of this freaky thing of these because it's rain and it's well shot. This was the best part of the movie. The best thing of all though is the one guy that's just a torso, no arms or legs, and he's inching his way to her with a knife in his hand. And you're like going, what is he gonna do once he gets there?
That was awesome.
But any horror films buffs the library needs to at least have watched this. I think for that, the idea of using real freaks, of using a real circus, of using all of this, just imagine if he had a real story to go in there besides just the very basic thing.
Yeah. Cody, what did you think about it?
Well, Bob, you brought up the turn in the movie. I think is really interesting. I was taken through most of the film how real all these characters seem.
Yes.
You see a side to these people that I don't think in film you had ever seen up to that point. All these real fleshed out characters. And then for it to take this turn at the end where it does go to this dark and kind of horrific place is a complex thing going on there. Do you guys think this movie at the time did more to help or harm the public perception of people with these deformities and conditions?
It's a good question because I was thinking about this. Like, I was reading about how it just basically ended this director's career and how
to the point where you don't know his last name.
Yeah, I can't even remember his last name. That's how bad it was. And the fact that people were so appalled by this because they were like, well, they're just exploiting these people, and so they were taking a stand against exploitation.
Do you think they were?
But I don't, because I'm like, all those people would probably go to a freak show and pay and go and see it. Yeah. And the nice thing about this film is that it gave such a human side. Like there was all these little human elements. Like, just like, the bearded lady has a baby. And they're like, well, I hope the baby has a beautiful beard like you. Yeah. And you're like, well, okay.
And the performance of the woman that played Frida, she was heartbreaking.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah, so...
I think the part that I loved the most was the conjoined twins. They all had, fiancés. And the fiancés were like, hey, you should come over and visit us sometime. And the other fiance's like, yeah, you should visit us too. And
that was
like
awesome.
they're gentlemen. And also when one of them gets kissed, the other one is like reading a book and she's just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you can
That
tell.
was good.
Rousing kiss.
You know one thing I really like? I love the scene at the table when they at the wedding when they accept her and they're passing around that drink. One of us. Yeah,
Gobble, and they're
I
like...
thought it was like Star Trek for
The weird thing is, though, is that in order to punish her, they make her into one of them.
Yes, that is an interesting...
It's just a weird juxtaposition where it's like you will be a freak now, but you will be a freak without any friends.
Oh, yeah.
Because the real point of the story is that being different is only tolerable when you have a family.
So, Bob, what do you think about this as far as a cult film? Recommendations?
Definitely, it's a cult film that you should watch. It will probably not be your favorite movie, but I think it is a movie that shows, especially like we've talked about before CGI, when people had to do real stuff, and this is going to be as real as it gets. Storytelling is a mile away; you can see where it's going, but I think there's some real heart in the production of this movie, and you feel the family aspect of it throughout. So I'd say yes.
Good. Cody?
I think it's one of those movies that probably had a different impact at the time that it was released than it does watching it now. There are stories, looking up the trivia, of like women who claim to have had miscarriages because they were so shocked by the things they saw in it. But that said, I think it was probably a really important movie for people to see. Like I said, seeing the real aspect of these characters, and freaks are real people, and if you mess with them, they'll cut you up and turn you into a chicken.
Yep, into a half chicken thing. Jady, how about you?
I wouldn't say that it was a movie that I'm going to watch when it's a scary dark night because of the ending, which is really disturbing. But it's a classic for a reason, and it's one of those movies that I truly don't think could get made today.
Yeah, this movie for me is a recommendation. I just found it. It's not very long, so you're not really committing a ton of time. Where today they like to make 4.5-hour movies every, you know. And so it's great that it's short. It keeps I was completely like drawn into it. There was so many little just it was very for a horror movie. This is a bad description of a horror movie, but it was charming to me. It was so charming to me. And I think though that this movie plays well today. I mean, because you know society's changed.
Yeah.
I think it plays well today. So this is one that I recommend. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun film.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So I guess we're all in agreement. We all recommend this one. Fantastic.
A+.
Good, good. Cody, how can people follow you or check you out? Or?
Follow me at Cody Eden on Twitter, or come see me do stand-up. I perform under the name Spencer King.
Spence. How about you, Jady?
You can check me out on jadbyproxy.com, my blog, or you can just look me up on Facebook and we can chat.
Fun. Bob?
Facebook as well. You can also check out Quick Wits at qwcomedy.com, or come see us here at the theater every Saturday night at 10 o'clock.
Awesome. And my name's Jamie Maxfield, again, your host of Cult Classics vs. Comedians. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Jamie Maxfield. You can also look me up on Facebook, and you can also follow Cult Classics vs. Comedians on Facebook. Look for Channel 801 on Facebook. That's another production that Ben Fuller and I produce. And then also Where's the Punch podcast. I'm the host of that. So look for all those avenues to check us out. And again, we want to thank Quick Wits Theater for allowing us to film here today. Guys, that was great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.